after 8 o'clock, and we're crossing over to Sudan, where we will be joined by Ramadan Ahmed Brimi. He is the editor of the Sudan Horizon and also a journalist and a political analyst. And we're going to be looking at the red alert having been sounded by the United Nations over human rights catastrophe in the Sudan's El Obeid region. The United Nations Chief Volker Turk has warned that another human rights catastrophe is unfolding in this particular city, urging the entire world to act before a feared and imminent paramilitary assault. And of course, the consequences will be absolutely dire. Ramadan Ahmed Breem, assalamu alaikum to you. Welcome to the program. It's sad to be talking under such dire circumstances. Can you tell us, is this warning by the United Nations as serious and dire as it sounds?
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, sister. Good morning, and to your viewers and listeners everywhere. The question you are asking about the UN, the momentum that UN has now regarding Al-Ubayd, it is something, it's a bit weird because as you know, many of the Sudanese towns and cities have been besieged for some time, and people have been suffering so much. Even Al-Ubayd itself, Al-Ubayd has been hit by drones, RSF drones, for the last how many months. The facilities, their service facilities, have been destroyed, such as electricity and water facilities, schools, hospitals, all have been hit. But we haven't heard anything about that from the United Nations, except the time when the Sudanese army is tightening the noose around RSF's neck. Then we're starting having, seeing these noises from here and there from the United Nations. It is a bit strange.
So you believe that there is an agenda at play here, apart from this humanitarian crisis that has been at play for a long, long time. It's just not an overnight situation. I think in February last year, we do know there was a breakthrough in a prolonged siege. The army struggled to prevent the RSF from reimposing a blockade through drone attacks on the city and the main highway out. So despite all of that, the situation has been ongoing, the hardship on the civilians and the situation of an RSF attack, it's nothing new. So the question then is, why is the UN only raising a red alert at this point in time?
It's very weird actually, and when the Sudanese army captured the Kulbus is in the borders with Chad. It is the area from which the RSF has been smuggling weapons into its controlled areas, and from which it attacks the government-controlled areas in Al-Ubayd and sending drones and all the machinery, the war machinery was entered through Kulbus. Now Kulbus is under control of the government, and the government army is now moving towards Jenaina. Jenaina is one of the three cities in Darfur. One of the main cities, Jenaina. Now, when the government or the army is almost take over Jenaina, then we'll start having all this kind of noise, which we didn't hear when Al-Fashir was besieged, and until it fell. Can you imagine? Al-Fashir was attacked 270 times by the RSF, and the military managed to repel the attacks until the city fell in the hands of the RSF, and almost 200,000 people got killed in cold blood. Even hospitals, people got killed in a hospital. Just imagine the patients, nurses, doctors, all of them got killed in a hospital. Still, the United Nations didn't make any kind of noise. There are two main cities that have been besieged over the last 3 years, which is Dilling, Kadugli, and Lagawa. Lagawa is under the control of the RSF, but the two other cities are under control of the army, but they are besieged. Imagine it has taken the population there to eat grass and herbs. Some of them died out of eating wrong herbs. Still, the United Nations didn't make any noise about it. This is unfortunate. The weird thing is that when the Sudanese army entered Kulbus and the surroundings, they discovered that there were some United Nations tanks, and they sent the army. They sent the pictures of that, and all the Sudanese people have seen it. It's very, very sad that the United Nations either it is listening to the protagonists of the Sudanese army, or it has its own agenda. I don't understand if that's what's going on.
Okay, we're going for an ad break. When we come back, let's try and understand from your point of view and the people on the ground what might be the agenda of the United Nations. Once again, we are aware that the global north, Western countries, are keenly interested in the continent of Africa simply because of all the minerals, etc., that the continent has. We know what's happening in the DRC by foreign interests. So is this possibly a question of foreign interests trying to get their hands on natural resources of Sudan, or are there other factors at play here which suits foreign interests to have upheaval in Sudan so that they can introduce their own agenda? And what might that agenda be? But all of that right after the ad break. Please do stay with us.
Rejuvenating media day by day. This is Salam Media.
You know, it's a wonder how kids get anything done these days. With all the distractions, when do they even get time to study? As a mother, all I can really do is make sure they have all they need to perform at their best. That's why I choose to include Sunfoil triple refined pure sunflower oil with every meal I make. Naturally cholesterol-free and approved by the Heart and Stroke Foundation as part of a balanced eating plan. So whether I'm cooking, frying or baking, I know every dish will be a wholesome one. Sunfoil, now we're cooking.
You South African, of course. You anxious about the future. We've got you covered. Build on your wealth portfolio with Randry Jewelers Gold Coin Exchange. Visit us at 151 Stephen Dlamini Road, Musgrave, Durban, or call us on 031-202-4700 for more information. Randry Jewelers Gold Coin Exchange, your passport to gold investment.
Almost 1 in 5 South African children attend school each day without having eaten breakfast. This seriously affects their ability to concentrate and understand lessons. The Al Imdad Foundation's Make Breakfast Possible campaign allows learners to enjoy a high-energy cereal at the start of the school day. Help children to focus on learning and not hunger. Let's make breakfast possible today. Donate online at alimdad.com or call 0861 786 243 for more information.
World-class financial services only at Sapphire Global, your financial partner. If you are looking for Islamic Sharia and ethical financial products, look no further. Sapphire Global offers a wide range of financial service offerings from short-term to life and investments. A full-service center with all financial requirements under one brand. Our highly skilled and experienced consultants are ready to help protect your financial future. Contact us on 041 001 0184 or visit our website on www.sapphireglobalfs.com. Sapphire Global is an authorized financial services provider.
Right now, in lands many of us feel deeply connected to, a mother holds a sick child, worried and fearful as she knows her nearest hospital has been destroyed. This is the mother we go beyond borders to reach. Doctors Without Borders is there in the world's toughest places. We go where others can't or won't, and we go immediately. When you give to us, we go even further. Visit msf.org.za/sadaqa, that's SADAQAH, and support Doctors Without Borders today. Doctors Without Borders, we go there.
Listen to something fresh. Listen to Salam Media.
Welcome back. It is exactly 8:32 a.m. We are talking with Ramadan Ahmed Birima. He is a Sudanese editor and of SudanHorizon.com. He's also a journalist and indeed an analyst. We're talking about the current situation unfolding in Sudan and, of course, the red alert that has been issued by the United Nations. I put a question to you, brother, before the ad break, and wondering, what do you suppose and what do the people on the ground suppose is the agenda regarding UN and possibly other Western countries, having closed their eyes for a long while to the unfolding catastrophe, but suddenly awakening now at this 11th hour?
It is very unfortunate that the United Nations and all the international organizations, they have been completely paralyzed when events unfolded in the Gulf region, when the American and Israelis attacked Iran. All of them went silent, or in fact paralyzed. They couldn't utter one word. And many people actually are asking, and whether when there is a talk about human rights, talk about democracy, talk about freedoms and all these flourish ideals, whether they apply to all of us equally. But some of them actually are recalling George Orwell's Animal Farm, that all of us in the world are equal, but some are more equal. Sudan is no exception. Sudan has been targeted for a long time, actually. Embargo has been imposed on Sudan. That's something that might not be announced, but the successive Sudanese governments have been blockaded because Sudan is one of the richest countries in Africa in terms of minerals, in terms of oil, in terms of gold, in terms of everything. Sudan has got, and Sudan has the longest river in Africa. So this kind of resources have been alluring, international players, and unfortunately, we are in a world where the big companies are the ones who are calling shots behind the scenes. So whenever they talk about human rights, they don't mean what they say. When they talk about civilians, protection of civilians, they only do that if it falls within their interests, meaning that it serves their interest, or otherwise they just turn a blind eye, like how they did in Gaza, they did in Iran, they did in many other countries, even including Sudan itself. When the RSF almost took over Khartoum, there were very shy calls from the United Nations that we need to hostilities to ease down hostilities and all these kind of things. until the Sudanese army stood its ground and managed to chase away the RSF from many parts of Sudan until now it is squeezed to Darfur and parts of Kordofan. So at the moment while I'm talking to you now, Jenin is almost taken over by the army, and civilians. If I tell you, civilians were celebrating wherever the army entered, because civilians have been suffering a lot at the hands of the RSF. This is a fact. So all these calls for the United Nations, whenever you hear United Nations making hoo-ha in any place, just realize that the Western interests are at stake. But once everything is okay with Western interests, the United Nations doesn't make any noise. I'm not condemning here the United Nations, because my country is part of the United Nations, and it is my interest and my sincere wish that the United Nations stand for all nations, not only for certain nations, and that all nations in the world must be equal, not some are more equal. This is the unfortunate part. But
okay.
Yes. Go ahead.
All right. A few very important questions I do need to put to you before we wrap up. And you talk about, certain countries, certain populations, certain groups of people are more equal than others. And it's simply that I think the global north, Europeans, white people seem to be more equal and more favored than us brown and black people. But be that as it may, two very important questions, and that is we talk about why the United Nations are only opening up and becoming aware and signing, creating an alert regarding the current situation in Sudan. You talk about Sudan having the longest river in all of Africa. Do you think that might be one of the reasons why there is this deep interest in Sudan by multinational companies, particularly Western companies? Has this got anything to do with the water wars that has started a long time ago, the Nile River, the dams that are being constructed, etc.? So that's the one part of the question. And then just to give context to our discussion for people that don't quite know what is happening in Sudan regarding the army and the RSF. Who exactly is funding the RSF and what is their agenda? Because they are being funded by a possible third force who trying to get, rooted into Sudan. So quite a number of questions there, but I'll hand over to you.
I really appreciate your two questions. The first question I'll answer it very quickly, and then so that I can go to the second question, because second question needs some elaboration. Definitely, Sudan has got a lot of resources, as I mentioned, and throughout the reign of Omar al-Bashir, that was ousted 7 years ago, throughout his tenure in power for 30 decades, Western companies or the Western world has imposed sanctions on Sudan, and because of the fact that they couldn't be able to do in Sudan what they are doing in other African countries, unfortunately. You know that imperialist forces do not believe in shoulder-to-shoulder relationship, but they only believe in hegemony. So if they can control you and make sure that you do what they ask, then you are very dear to them and you are beloved one, and they can introduce you to the world as the best country or the best leader whatsoever. But the moment you show them that no, our resources are for our nation, then definitely you become an enemy. Then they impose embargoes on you and on all this. This is exactly what happened in Sudan. Now, coming to your second question, which is actually connected with the first one, RSF, which is Rapid Support Forces, this is a paramilitary group that was utilized by the regime of Omar al-Bashir to fight the rebels in Darfur. That was the initial reason why it was established in, it was established sometimes earlier, but it has taken this current shape, that is Rapid Support Forces, in 2017. The unfortunate part is that when the government of al-Bashir was ousted and a new pro-Western elite took over in that revolution, so-called revolution, then they utilized the RSF. So RSF was then adopted by the United Arab Emirates to overpower the national army and become the substitute army for Sudan, so that the leader of the RSF could be the head of the state, and everything would be in the pocket of the United Arab Emirates. As you know, United Arab Emirates has been functioning, or has been working as a functional group, or sorry, a functional state in favor of the Zionist state and whoever controlled the world. So that was the initial stage. There was a military coup attempt, but it failed. The military coup was meant to take over government, dissolve the army, and then make the RSF the new substitute army. That coup failed and then turned into an all-out war. Still, the sponsors thought that it would be easy for them to win the war. The good news is that the Sudanese people supported the army, and many youth groups joined the army as popular resistance, and they did very well. That's why they overpowered RSF, and they chased it to the outskirts of Sudan, in Darfur and parts of Kordofan. Now, that is how, in a nutshell, how the RSF came to be. And the main supporter of the RSF is the United Arab Emirates. This is not, I'm not the one who's saying this. This is something even the United Nations organs and reports have been confirmed, have confirmed this. And all the international media know this very well, especially the American media. And a lot of reports that United Nations reports were issued and condemned the United Arab Emirates. The unfortunate part is that the ICJ could not take the United Arab Emirates or condemn it because you know what these international bodies do. If you got money, then you can do away with whatever harm that you cause to people, whether you can kill people, do whatever you want to do. As long as you have money, you can go away with it. So this is in a nutshell what's happening in Sudan. The army is doing its best, and now it is in full control of the country. The Sudanese people have never supported any, have never supported the army like how they do it at the moment.
Okay, and of course, the UAE is not acting solely in their own capacity. I should imagine that there are many other Zionist influences involved there as well to cause as much mayhem as they can in Sudan and get their hands on your resources, your minerals, very especially your gold, which is so much favored, and we know what the gold price is sitting at the moment. So yes, everyone's trying to get their hands on all of your resources. Let's wrap up now by asking the all-important question. What is the condition of the people on the ground? You spoke earlier on about the issue around hunger, scarcity of food. I should imagine hospital supplies as well, because hospitals have been attacked, doctors and nurses have been killed. What exactly and how dire is that situation? What do you think that the United Nations would be able to provide the aid that is required in the UN? Who else should be coming to the fore to assist Sudan to overcome the situation that they find themselves in, this very horrific situation that you find yourselves in? It's hunger, it's poverty, it's displaced people. it's a shortage of medical assistance, and of course, the issue of the mayhem, the absolute havoc that's being wrought in your country.
The damage is too huge to be contained by even the United Nations itself. I mean the United Nations agencies. Some of them are operating in Sudan, and I think we have two types of harm, if not three. One is the people who are returning back home after having fled to either neighboring countries or to other places in Sudan. When they return home, they found that their homes were looted by the RSF. Some of them, their homes were destroyed, and these people need very urgent assistance. There are other people who are now still under siege, like Al Ubaid, for example, is partly under siege. Deleng, Kadugli, and other areas are still under siege, and these need very urgent assistance because now it is an agricultural season. The agricultural season now is on, and people would not be able to go and cultivate their farms, which means by September or October, if people did not farm their land, meaning that is going to be hunger, and this is very dangerous.
Okay.
So in this case, yes.
We're going to have to leave it there, unfortunately. I think you've given us a very bleak and holistic picture. As holistic as it is, it's very, very bleak indeed. And we do hope and pray that the international community wakes up and come to the plight of the Sudan people. Thank you indeed for your deep insights on this matter. Ramadan, Ahmed, Birima, Allah be with one and all and your people in Sudan. Assalamu alaikum to you.
Jazakallah khair wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
It is exactly 8:48 a.m. News and views moving along. Stay with us. We're going for a break. And when we come back, we are going to be talking with Brother Malik Arafat.